Well, hey guys, it's Donna Parteau, and I'm here in Zacapa, Guatemala. And I've been very proud of my team because they've done a much better job than I have of getting onto social media and posting about their experiences. So I wanted to at least hop on and try to give you an update from my perspective of what's going on. And we have about 40 people. Welcome, Robin. Thanks so much for praying. We have about 40 people, and we're from the United States, Canada, New Zealand, Costa Rica, a good group, like 6-7 people from Costa Rica. And we even have 2 young girls from Liberia. So people from all over the world coming together from all different backgrounds. We have our youngest is 9 years old, and he was part of the Arizona team. Lena's here. He was part of the Arizona team that literally took 3 days to get here. They were held up in Mexico City. The Mexican authorities said that they didn't have all the paperwork that they needed. It was just crazy. Hey, welcome everybody. And so it took them 3 days to get here. The woman who came from New Zealand, her trip was shorter than the people coming from Arizona. And it was one of the highlights of the trip that the first words out of this little boy's mouth were, "I can't wait to come back next year." I mean, he was just beaming. He was happy. He was having a wonderful time. He's like, "Oh, I love it here." I mean, how many of us would spend 3 days trying to get to Guatemala? Wow. Sleeping on the floor in the airport. And he's just so excited about what God is doing. I'll tell you a funny story. I'm going to tell you some of the funny stories and some of the God stories. My favorite funny story, okay, so they can accommodate about 400 people at a time here, 400 volunteers. Welcome everybody, glad you could join us. They can accommodate about 400 volunteers. So we're not the only group here. I mean, we've got 40, we're definitely the biggest group. There's a large group from Liberty University here as well, but we're definitely the biggest group. And so one of the just really great, I'm in love with her actually, one of the great ladies on our team kept rebuking, for the first 2 days, rebuking these 3 young people and saying like, "Why aren't you sitting at our assigned table? Why are you sitting over there by yourself? Why aren't you listening? Why aren't you participating? I mean, you need to be part of a team." And so finally, after 2 days, she gets right up at their face and says, "You are going to miss God." And then we're on the bus and we're driving past and she sees the 3 young people and she's like, "Stop, look, we're forgetting these people." And I looked at her, I said, "They're not on our team." And she just starts these kids are so sweet. They never 2 days this went on of her rebuking them, telling them that they were going to miss out on God. They weren't even part of our team. The funny thing is that then, because our team is having so much fun, now they want to be part of our team. So we're calling it a prophetic rebuke of these young people. Anyway, it's kind of silly, I guess. But we've packed up, the team is packed up just hundreds and hundreds of pounds of food that will be taken out to people in these mountains surrounding us. This area of the world is, I think it's number 2 in the world. Our tour, a lot of my team is here. I'm trying to update the world about our team and my team is showing up. This is kind of fun. I'm going to go down, we're taking a little break for a little while down to the pool and I'm going to see if I can interview some people from the team and get them to share their highlights. But Arturo's here. He's led someone to Christ. His girlfriend Ava, she led someone to Jesus. And so I'm packing up a lot of food. They're building a house for a family. Esperanza de Vida had, they have an orphanage. But they noticed that children don't thrive in that type of an environment. So they're now moving to a home style model where, each home has a parent and maybe up to 15 children who comprise that home, and they may have their own children and then some children who are, brought in from children in need. And so we're actually building a home, and they're going to build it in 1 week. A home for one of these host, these large families. And so they're working hard on that. And what else? Today, I got to do a conference for the women employees of Esperanza de Vida. And I posted a picture, and I'll tag it and highlight it. One of the gals, just so precious. And she was rescued at the age of 8, her and her 2 brothers, from, a really bad situation. And now she works here. It's just a beautiful, lovely young woman. I think she said she's 23 years old, and she's made a beautiful life here. A big part of what they do is go into the mountains and look. I started to say this, that this is number 2 in the world for malnutrition, because it's very dry and rugged terrain, and things don't grow. So, and people just kind of eke out a survival existence. And so they have people who are full-time out there in the mountains looking for children who are at risk for, or are malnourished and dehydrated and really in a dire situation. They might also find children with disabilities, because if the mother is not well nourished, then the baby's not going to be healthy. The baby's not going to thrive. In fact, when I was here, I went out in what they call a rescue, and it's grueling. I mean, it is. We might have some people go out on one this week. It's pretty grueling. You're deep into those mountains, and you can go as far as the Jeep will go, and then the rest of it is on foot trying to get into these remote areas. And but so we may have people go out on the rescues, and then when they go in, they take the food. And it's just incredible, just so many different things going on. And anyway, so they do outreach to the people. They bring them food. Those who are severely malnourished, they bring them in here, and they have a nutrition center, and they nurse them back to health, and help them get some resources. I mean, the amazing thing is, this guy, his vision is so huge. You can't dream small and have an excuse, because he started a little boy in the tiny village right here with absolutely nothing in the middle of a civil war, and his choice was either join the guerrilla army or run for his life. And he chose to run for his life. And he made it to America and became enormously successful. And now there's just no limit to what this guy can dream. He's got 4,000 acres of land. He's built, he's got a home for the elderly. He's got a home for the disabled. He's built 7,000 houses. He's got, he's installed clean water. He's building a hospital. He's just got a helicopter now to go out into the mountains. As I said, these rescues are perilous. So now they're going to get a helicopter to go out and rescue people. Now he wants to have his own soccer team. So he's going to build a soccer stadium. And now he's building a building to rescue people from sex trafficking and to give those women rehabilitation. I mean, he's 70, and I guess he's just getting started, because he just dreams so big. And the thing that really just inspired me the most, and I want to see if I can get a picture of it, is that he actually built the pad, like the landing pad for the helicopter, because he believed that he knew that God was going to send him a helicopter. He needed a helicopter. He said, God, you're going to send me a helicopter, so I'm just going to build the landing pad, and then you're going to send me the helicopter. That's what I want to do. And actually, that's what I'm going to Jordan to do. Our next mission trip, and I want you guys thinking about the next mission trip. Our next mission trip is going to be working with a group of Palestinians. We're going to add on a tour of Israel, so it'll be lots of fun. But our mission is a spiritual one, and I feel like God's saying, we're sending a helicopter. We're gonna be rescuing people spiritually, and so what we're gonna do is go just like this guy did and build a landing pad spiritually. We're gonna build a landing strip in Jordan. I'm just really excited about that. But the ministry that we're here with is Esperanza de Vida. As I said, I guess as I was starting to say, we did a full day event. 9 to noon we did an event for the women who work here, and so a lot of the women who work here, I would imagine, once upon a time were at risk, and they were rescued, and now they have a beautiful life here on this spectacular place, and it's just so inspiring. And we're going to do tomorrow. We're going to go out we're going to divide into 2 teams. Again, there are about 40 or so of us, so we'll divide into 2 teams and go out into 2 different villages. And we're going to do like child evangelism. We're going to do like a little mini one-day VBS, and then we're going to do some evangelism. And it was so cool. It was so cool. I don't know if anybody knows one of the girls here, Ebony. And I hadn't really gotten to know her at all, and I'm trying to be really intentional. I've got 40 people on my team, but I'm trying to be intentional about spending one-on-one time with each of them. And I woke up today and I'm like, I've got to get some one-on-one time with Ebony. I just got to get to know her. And I went to sit down, and one of the other groups looked at me like, and I put all my stuff, and then went and got my food, and I came back, and the group was like, yeah, this is our table. It's like, uh-oh. So I picked up my stuff, and I went and found like the only spot I could find. And sure enough, it was right across from Ebony. She wasn't sitting yet, so I took the only spot, and next thing you know, Ebony's like, oh, I'm in the spot across from you. So I start talking to her, and I'm like, okay, so if you only had, I'm just trying to get to know her, and I'm like, so If I gave you 15 minutes and said the whole world has to listen to you for the next 15 minutes, what would you say? And she gave a little evangelistic message. And I'm like, so in other words, you're an evangelist? And she looked at me and she said, yeah, I guess I am an evangelist. So we're just talking about people who have a heart and a passion for evangelism. And I said, I really think God is going to open a door for you to begin to use that evangelistic gift. The United States has been evangelized to death, but there's a lot of places in the world where people have never even heard the word Jesus. And I just believe God's going to begin opening doors for you to evangelize. And just then, Hector tapped me on the shoulder and said, I need to talk to you. And he pulled me aside and he said, well, we didn't have this planned, but an opportunity just opened up for us to go out tomorrow and do some evangelism. I'm like, you just took me away from the woman that I was sitting there saying, God's going to open the door, because this was not planned. I'm sitting there telling her, God's going to open a door for you to use your gift of evangelism outside the United States. And while I'm saying that, he's tapping me on the shoulder, saying we need to go do evangelism. So she's going to be our evangelist tomorrow. I just love the prophetic. It's just so fun. And I was joking with Yolanda, a lot of you know Yolanda Perry's joking with her. It's like so many prophets like, you're going to another level. I'm like, dude, if that's all you got, you need a nap. Okay, let's get specific. You're going to give someone a prophetic word, make it a specific one, or don't say anything. But anyway, so that was kind of fun. Other highlights, here's another funny one. I mean, it's been great. I mean, they went out into the garbage dump and fed people in the dump, and I know people were really moved by that. And you're like, well, why are people in the dump? Because they recycle the garbage, and they work, all day, every day, and they make maybe $8 a week, surviving off of the garbage. But they've built homes, enough homes for like 600 people. There were 600 people in the dump, all of them at homes, and now I understand more people have come to the dump. So they're new and they don't have homes yet, but they try to be intentional about providing homes and clean water, which is, I've been in garbage dumps around the world. The idea that people who eke out their existence there are going to have their own home, are going to have running water, it's unheard of anywhere in the world. By definition, if you're living in the dump, So it just, again, just absolutely incredible. And I know people were really deeply moved by that experience. But it's not all work. It's work, and yes, it's incredible. But then there's fun times. So I was sitting and having a conversation. Actually, we were making essential oil insect repellents that were donated by Carla out of Mexico. And I hear this screaming and yelling, and I'm like, those college students, this is ridiculous. This is like a mission trip here. They're making all this racket. So we finished making our essential oil insect repellents, and I'm like, I'm going to go look at those college kids. Guess who was in the pool screaming and yelling? Yeah, it was my team playing volleyball. They were the ones making all the racket. The college kids were asleep somewhere having a Bible study, and my team was carrying on. But anyway, it's been a blessing, and I'm going to do. I don't do a good job, I know, of keeping you guys updated. But a lot of my team, they're taking pictures. I'm encouraging them to take selfies and get to know each other. I'll tell you what's really beautiful. I said the first day, I'm like, look, we're not going to have two teams. We're not going to have the Spanish-speaking team and the English-speaking team, because we have people who can only speak English and they can't speak Spanish. And then we have quite a number of team members who only speak Spanish and can't speak English because they came out of Costa Rica. And I'm like, okay, we're going to be one team. And I need everybody to just be intentional about that. And I would say that of the many beautiful things that I've seen, one of my favorites, I think Christian Reed was in on it, but there's a group of ladies, and they had out their phones in Google Translate and talking to each other and laughing with each other over Google Translate. And I thought, wow, that's what we as the body of Christ need to be. We need to be willing to team up with people who don't look like us, who don't sound like us, who come from a different country, a different place, different socioeconomic. I was starting to say young and old. Our youngest is a 9-year-old boy, and then we have people in their 70s. So it runs the whole gamut. I'm sure we've got, a couple people already told me, I'm out of work right now. I don't even know, what am I doing here? I don't even have a job. And then we have a doctor. And we have, a nurse, and we have professionals. We have construction guys, and they're building a house. We have a high school student. And it's just really beautiful. And missions is where it's at. I'm telling you guys, you need to be on the next mission trip. That's what I want to say. You need to be on the next mission trip. Our next mission trip, we're working with a group of Palestinians. I think you can make a case the most oppressed people, some of the most oppressed people in the world. Palestinian Christians, that is. And we're going to partner with them. We're going to do some amazing things. So check that out at donnaparteau.com/Israel. And that's kind of disguised as a tour of Israel. But believe me, it's a mission trip. This is a spiritual mission trip. We're going to do in the supernatural, in the spiritual realm, we're going to do what Carlos Vargas has done for the helicopter here. Build that landing strip before he knows where the helicopter is going to come from. He knows it's coming from God. He doesn't know when, he doesn't know who's going to pay for it, but he knows that God said he's going to do it, and so he's building the landing pad. And now that helicopter, last time I was here, was still just his biggest dream. And now the helicopter's on the way. It's in Guatemala City. And that's what we're going to do for the Palestinians. We're going to go and we're going to believe that God is coming to their rescue in a really big way. And I mean spiritually. I don't mean just spiritually. I mean in every way. That God's going to rescue them. And he's going to do a mighty, mighty move. So I'm excited. Judy's going to be there. And I hope many more of you will join me. I see so many of my team here. You guys are so cute. Aren't you getting enough of me live and in person? You're tuning into my Facebook Lives. I'm going to come feature some of you. We love you guys so much. And I'm very proud of myself. I did a Facebook Live for the week. Yay! I did it. Yay. Bye.